After building dozens of FlutterFlow apps, you start to see a pattern. A lot of them look the same and share the same basic functionalities.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting.
A feature that can take your app to the next level and set it apart from the others is advanced filter and search pages that can scale. You can easily build these using FlutterFlow and Algolia, but not the default integration. This tutorial is going to be a long one, so grab a cup of coffee or maybe tea and enjoy the journey to a pro-level FlutterFlow app. So we open up algolia.com and click on Get Started and create the easiest account ever. Then you would see a dashboard like this. Then click on the area below Applications and click on Create Application. Select a region which is closest to your main user base, and obviously we have to accept the terms and services. Then click on Create, and we are not going to use this section, so we're gonna skip it for now. And now we have an unnamed application. So just to rename our application, we're gonna head to Applications, and it's a bit weird, but click on the three dots on the right side, click on Rename, and give it a nice name. In this case, it's Instagram clone Algolia, but give it a better name. Now we head to Firebase and open up our project. First of all, as I said, this project is on Blaze plan. We need it for the cloud functions. To do this step, you need to be the owner of the project. And if you are added by someone else, you cannot do this section by yourself. So we're going to open up Firestroe database from the build section, click on extensions and find search Firestroe with Algolia. It should be at the top of the list, and click on install. And it will be a next kind of installation. So it's super easy. On this page, it's gonna ask us a bunch of questions and then do its job. So click on next, enable these two thingies and click next. Next again, and this is the important part. The first part is collection path. So we are gonna tell this extension which collection it should create an index from. In this case, in our app is user posts, but if you are, for example, indexing stories, you wanna put stories over here. And be aware of the S, it can create a lot of problems. Then we name the Algolia index the same, so it's user posts. And for Algolia application ID, we need to head back to Algolia and just copy this application ID. Then we need to create an Algolia API key. If you're feeling super lazy, you can just put the admin API key over here, but don't do that, and create a new API key. Open Algolia, and from the bottom corner, open settings, and then click on APIs, and over here, switch to all API keys, and on the top section, click on new API key. Give it a nice description. It will have access to all indexes if you leave this empty. Now we need to add a bunch of permissions. We can see the list of permissions from here, and hopefully I will remember them because I'm a fish. So it's add object, delete object, settings, edit settings, list index, and delete index. That's it. Now copy the API key and put it over here. Click on create secrets. Select the cloud function location. It really doesn't matter. Just try to choose a close location to your database. So if your database is in Europe, choose somewhere in Europe, and if not, in United States or North Korea. And we do wanna index existing documents. This used to be a big hassle to import existing documents, but now it's fully automated. Now we can click install. It will do its magic in the background. Now that our extension has done its job, if we head back to Algolia and do a quick refresh, you will see the index created. It's user posts in our case. And for us to be able to use it in our custom code and cloud functions, we need to define two things. One is the searchable fields and the other are the facets. So click on configuration and open up searchable attributes. And in this case, we want to be able to search by the post title and the post description. Next step is to define the facets. What are facets? These are the fields in our index that we want to be able to filter by. For example, if we want to filter by a date, you need to add that date over here. So scroll down a bit and click on facets and add the fields you want to filter by. Here it's time posted and tags, and click on save. I forgot to click save so many times, so please don't forget. Now we are ready to create our cloud function, which is exciting, really exciting. To create a cloud function, just head to the cloud function side. and click on add. Name it something relevant like fetch from Algolia. Then using the link in the description, we wanna copy the magic code and paste it over here. And we can click save, but before deploying it, we need to add a few a few dependencies. The first one is cores and the second one is Algolia search. While you're here, don't forget to like the video, it helps a lot, and I promise I will like your comments too. Now we have to put the application ID and the API key into our code. So we will fetch the application ID just like we did on the previous step and paste it over here. And for API key, you want to put the admin API key over here. To do that, head to settings and click on API keys and copy it and paste it over here. Do not share this API key. Click save and deploy. Heads up, leaving your cloud function open like this isn't secure for a production app. Anyone could potentially mess with your setup and cause some trouble. So you'll want to add some security measures. I'm covering that in the extended tutorial available in our community. By joining, you'll get access to this tutorial and exclusive polls to help decide future content, early access to new videos, and tons more. Plus, it's a great way to keep this channel alive and growing. After the cloud function is deployed, we have to open up our Firebase project and under build, open up functions. Here we can see the URL path of the deployed cloud function. So just copy this URL, head back to FlutterFlow and create a new API call and paste the URL over here and give it a good name. And the method is post. Okay, now we need to define the variables. The first two are lat and lng, both of them are double. Next one is filter query and the type is string. Page and hits per page, this is used for pagination and both of them are integer. Next one is search term, the type is a string. Index name, and the last one is location radius. Now we need to map all of those variables into our request body. This can be a bit of a pain, so I'm just gonna give you the text ready and you can just copy and paste it. Click save. Now we can test it. I'm gonna give the variables a default value and test the API call. Lat and lng are 0, so it doesn't query based on them. And we just wanna get 10 results. And the index name is user's post. We have a 500. I'll be back. We need to investigate it. Okay, turns out it's not user's post, it's user posts. Classic, huh? Now if we run it, we will actually get a response. Next, we want to add object ID into the predefined JSON path. So just scroll down and find object ID from the recommended list. So using this object ID, we can fetch the actual Firestroe document. And click save. We are done with this section. We are getting really close. Next step is to build the search page. We have a page in our app called feed search. Over here, it's super simple. It's just a list view and a text field on top of it. What we need to do is to delete the list view query and add a new query. It's an API call. We are going to use query Algolia API and we have to give the variables a value. Lat and lng are 0. We don't give filter query just now. Page is also 0, so give us the first page. Search term is important. We have to put the text field value into this variable. Next one is hits per page, which is 10, so it loads only 10 posts. Location radius -1 is just a default value I give so that the cloud function ignores location radius. And the index name is user posts. We learned that the hard way. Now I'm gonna wrap our item with a container so it can query the document from Firestroe. But before that, we need a custom function. We'll name this custom function user post ID to ref. The return type is document reference and the argument is just a string ID. It's gonna return the reference to the user post with that particular ID. Click save and copy the function name. Now back to the widget builder, we can actually query the document from Firestroe. It's just a document from reference, the collection is user post, and we're going to get the document reference using the custom function. And it doesn't seem right. Oh shoot, we need to do something else. So the parent is the list view. We need to do a small adjustment. So right next to the query, we have this generate dynamic children tab, and we need to pass the JSON body of the API call. and we don't need any changes. Give it a random name and click save. Now, this time we can actually query the document from Firestroe. The ID is coming from Algolia item. Amazing naming. And the JSON path is just $.objectID and no further changes, and confirm. We are almost there. Now the only thing left is the tedious part of replacing everything with the correct variable. I'll be back. Whew. We are back to no errors again. Now what I want to do is to add another button that navigates the user to a filter page. So the user can come to the search page, do their search, and also apply some filters to the search results. We need to actually design and build the filter page. For that, I'm gonna switch to my iPad and start designing the page. It's always a lot more enjoyable to work with your fingers for design. Yeah, I'm a designer, not a backend developer. I can center a div. Yeah. We want to keep the page really simple because the purpose of this app is not to look pretty, it's just to work, and work only for educational purposes. As you can see, we have end date and start date, tags, and location. What I want to do is when you click on apply, we update some app states, and then using those app states, we build the Algolia query. And for the local changes, we have one start date and one end date. On page state, for tags, we don't need a page state, and you can just change the tags to whatever you want to let the users filter by. I'm just gonna put cars, coffee, and tea. Why not? And location picker is good enough. Now let's head to app state and create our app states. The first one is start date and then end date, the list of tags, which is a list obviously, and the last one is the location, latitude and longitude. Now in the action flow of the apply button, we wanna update the app state with our local page state and the widget states we have. So update start date, end date, tags. Oh, why can't I put tags? Oh, you have to enable allow multi-select. Okay, back to apply. Now we can select tags. Confirm. Now location, search for widget state and pick place picker and the lat LNG. Now to force the app to rebuild the search results, we have to tell the app to navigate to feed search again, not to navigate back. Back to the feed search page, we can now give filter query a value. But how do we build this? For this, I need to teach you a bit of syntax. I know it is a no-code / low-code tool, but it's super simple. For this section, I created a new custom function called build Algolia filter query. This custom function is responsible to create a query that matches the syntax of Algolia. We can check the syntax over here. The link will be in the description. It's a super simple syntax, and it basically tells you how you can compare values or make exact matches and create and or conditions and etc. But later on I will show you a trick that won't even need you to read this document at all. So let's use this function in our search page. So we have to edit the API call that is made in the list view. Select filter query, and now we can use build Algolia filter query and just set what we have on app state to the variables we have over here. So tags, start date, and end date. Confirm. We are finished with building the query. Now we can enable infinite scroll. So open up the API call we make on the list view. Over here, you can enable infinite scroll, which is going to give us some extra variables, and just select page. And instead of passing 0, we're going to pass next page. And you can play with the hits per page number. It depends how you show the fields. Is it a grid view, list view, etc. Now, this section is also done, but not all apps are the same. So obviously your app will be vastly different from this one. So what if you wanna change the custom function, but you don't know the Algolia syntax or the Dart syntax and just don't wanna code? For example, you wanna filter based on generated, which is a Boolean. So what you do is, first of all, add this generated field to the facets. Don't forget that. And click save. I almost forgot that. Now click on edit and copy the entire thing over here and head to ChatGPT and be like, hey, this is how my objects look like on Algolia, and head back to FlutterFlow and add the other extra field. In this case is generated. The type is obviously Boolean and it can remain nullable. Copy the custom function and tell ChatGPT to modify this code so it also includes generated. And voila, we have a new code. So you can easily just copy the entire thing and paste it into FlutterFlow. Click save and we are done. I told you, you don't need to code. One last thing is to put the location filters into our API call. To do that, first we need to create two custom functions. First is get lat. The return type is double and it's not nullable. And the argument is location, lat lng. It is nullable, and here we wanna return the latitude if it's not null, and if it's null, just return 0. Click save and duplicate this function and change it to get lng. Replace it with longitude and click save again, and back to fit search page and editing API call, and over here we use get lat and pass it the location from app state and get lng. Click confirm. We also need to put the location radius. So previously it was -1. We want to change it to something like 20, 10, depends on your application. What it basically says is I want to see results that are around London within 20 kilometers or 10. And I'm sorry, my American friends, it's in metric system. Now we can build the app and test it out. And there you have it. Advanced search, limitless filters, pagination, and everything you need for a powerful search experience. With Algolia and FlutterFlow combined, you are not limited anymore. You can take it even further and play around with queries, try out custom filters, and make the search your own. If you have made it this far, it means you are really serious about this kind of stuff. So if you like, don't forget to join our exclusive community where we share the deep FlutterFlow and app development tutorials. Thank you so much for watching the video to the end, and see you in the next one.